Hello everyone and welcome back to Mentos Plays Cloudberry Kingdom. If you've been watching the last couple episodes, you know that I've kind of fallen for this game in terms of wanting to make over 1,000,000 points, as well as the fact that it turns into a bit more stream of consciousness than my normal commentary. So we are back to play more Cloudberry Kingdom, and we are just going to be bouncing along here in order to collect these coins. Obviously, if you are unfamiliar with the game, this is all randomized. Each level going forward will be. It gets more difficult as it progresses, which is, from what they've said, apparently based on your performance, how much more difficult it gets, and in what ways it gets more difficult. So it is definitely something that, will be tough to complete at all, nonetheless, to get a super high score on. And that's exactly what I'm going for. Although 1,000,000 isn't exactly super high, considering the maximum score is over 4,000,000, but it's pretty high for someone who's not, a super pro gamer. So, our goal early on here is just don't die. The longer it takes for us to take that first step, the better position we're in. We want to have probably at least over 100,000 points before we die once, if possible. If not more than that. But yeah, it's been a fun series so far. I quite enjoy this game. It makes me want to score attack. It makes me want to get the highest scores I can, try to move up on that there leaderboard, which is awesome, because games that can actually drag me into doing that are few and far between. So I need to go now. Oop. Oh, come on. How am I supposed to do this? Okay, so now I need to go down here, Ah, I just need to run faster. That makes sense. Most of the time in Cloudberry Kingdom, if you can't figure out the answer to what you need to do, the answer is move faster. Which is not necessarily a bad thing, because it does... Oh, that was stupid. That was a situation where moving faster ended up making me uncomfortably close to that saw blade. So uncomfortably close, in fact, that I died. This run is going horrible. We're restarting. Okay, let's go. This is my first set of runs for the day. I just got home from work. Made some decent money in tips because I was actually in a tip position where I could, which is always a bonus. When you work a couple hours and get more than a couple hours worth of pay, that's always a nice thing. Although, you have kind of give or take when you're in those positions. Today was definitely a good day for them. We were picking up, we were getting busier than we were when I first got there, and because of that we had not as many people as we would otherwise have on, because we didn't have as many people as we needed there. And that allowed me to make some pretty decent money in a pretty short amount of time, which is always a plus. Okay, so now we want to run, go, yeah. Dude. Okay. But yeah, that's one of the benefits of my current job, is the fact that occasionally you get into a nice tip position where, you walk out of there with more money than you reasonably should for the hours you worked. Which is not a bad thing. It's inconsistent, it's not something that you can rely on necessarily, but it's definitely nice when it happens. It makes it a little bit easier to get by. Should at least help with, affording Spelunky, Papers, Please, and possibly Guacamelee all on Thursday, which is probably in the past by now, if I had to guess when this video is going to go up. I'm also thinking I'm probably going to use these videos as more of a extra upload type thing, as more of a just... whenever I upload something and I feel like uploading an episode of Cloudberry as well, I will. There won't really be a set schedule. I can't guarantee that I can have one episode of this every day as well as an episode of something else. So I don't want to jump into that can of worms just yet. But in terms of my general channel stuff, this is going to be more so treated as bonus episodes than main episodes. Even though I am recording quite a bit of it lately, I don't want it to become, a situation like, as much as I love Let's Playing Rogue Legacy, having that be the only thing on the channel day in and day out for like 2 weeks straight. is probably not the most interesting programming. Whereas I would prefer to keep this as kind of a bonus thing, or on and off at the very worst, in order to keep that interest up. At least on the bright side, we did break the 100,000 points I was talking about that I wanted to at least break before dying once. As I mentioned, that's not really a great milestone, but it is a milestone, I guess, technically. Technically, anything you get is a milestone. Like, your first birthday is as much of a milestone as your 70th. It's just that it takes more time to get to a 70th birthday, so it's regarded as a bigger milestone. But technically speaking, every year older you get is just 1 year. It's no different than that first year you lived. Think of it that way. The year we were born was no different than the year it is now, except we did not know how to talk or walk or really do much of anything, and now we do. Also back then it was kind of like the point where you're excited to get older. Well, not quite that early, but I always find it funny when I think about the fact that, there was a point in my life where every time my birthday was coming up I was excited. Especially once I got, to the upper teens and it was going on 18, 19, and then onwards to 20 and 21. Especially 21, obviously, for, the ability to drink legally, which I don't do all that often, but back when I was turning 21, I did it kind of more often than I like to admit. Oh. But yeah, there's this huge stretch of time, probably the majority of your youthful life, that you spend wishing you could get older. And then you get older and you realize that it's really just not all it's cracked up to be. And it's kind of a weird realization that day when you wake up and you go, man, next time I have a birthday, it's just, there's nothing to look forward to. I've got everything that I get from way of age. All I get going forward now is older, more uncomfortable, and there's just nothing to look forward to anymore. And that was kind of a weird day, I think, in everyone's life when it happens. Because you realize that you can never look forward to a birthday as a step closer to something that you're looking forward to ever again. But, man, that got kind of depressing. I mean, it's not to say that, it's not to say that birthdays become a bad thing once you get, over whatever the last legality-based age is. It's just to say that, you kind of stop looking forward to it. And I think everyone goes through that realization right about the same time, where it's just like you start wishing that you didn't have to keep getting older. You want to stay where you are. You're at that perfect point in your life where you have some money. If you are lucky, you got some time to yourself. If you've got, if you've got the best of all worlds, and you can have a lot of money and a lot of time to yourself, but that's few and far between. But, there's just kind of this point where you're like, these are the days where I want to have the most fun with my life, and I don't want them to end. But, on the other hand, there are also advantages to getting older. Because even though there are no legal things that you have to worry about getting to, there are also other benefits of, eventually retirement and being like, yeah, I don't have to work and I'm still making money. Stuff like that. Which are obviously good things that you look forward to in the long run. But those kind of things, the benefits of getting older than, the last age that you look forward to whenever it may be, they kind of slip through your eyes for a while. Because you don't tend to think that far ahead. You think closer on where it's like, well, my next birthday, there's nothing to look forward to, and you don't realize quite so easily that, there is a time coming up when you're going to be looking forward to your birthdays again. Unless you're just one of those people who's really, afraid of getting older, and then you're just kind of out of luck, and I apologize for probably reminding you of something that you didn't want to think about. But I don't think there are too many people. Oh God. I don't know if you guys saw that, but that was a really close maneuver. Whee! Bouncy, bouncy, bouncy. This game looks, and like if you describe this game as you run around with the arrow keys and you jump over and around obstacles to collect coins, people probably think something like Mario that gets hard at times, but at the same time, it's, for the most part, relatively laid back in terms of level structure. And then they see this, and they're like, oh, there are a lot of things going on that screen. Yeet, yeet. No! Oh! I suppose I should wait for that spike to go down before jumping. Also, I just remembered, today is Tuesday, which means there is a new episode of Whose Line Is It Anyway tonight. Has anyone else been watching the new Whose Line series? Like, I love the fact that Wayne, Colin, Ryan, they're all still the same, they're all still funny. But they've ruined the formula on these new episodes. All the games that used to be audience members are now celebrity guests, which are pretty much just a way to advertise shows. There are more in the way of, or they're less in the way of crowd interactions, more of the way of cards that have skits and stuff written on them. I'm having fun watching the show, but it's just not the same as it used to be in, the worst way it could have possibly changed, which is the removal of that audience interaction. So don't get me wrong, if you haven't watched it and you like the old Whose Line, Colin, Wayne, and Ryan are still all funny, you're still going to have fun watching the show, but just don't expect that same kind of crowd-focused entertainment that it was before. I am failing up on this level, which is not that difficult of a level. Oh god. Oh god. I don't know why I went back for that. Oop. Oh, come on. Sorry I went silent there. I was really concentrating on that one. And I still messed it up. And oh my dear lord, are we going to die on this early level with 400,000 points? Please don't tell me this is about to happen. Okay, now we need to jump down here. Then we go over here. That was not nearly as hard as I just made it look. I am the world's worst Cloudberry Kingdom game. Cloudberry Kingdom player, not game. Which is, objectively false, because I am not the last person on the leaderboards. But that doesn't change the fact that I am the worst. Because that is a statement that I am making as if it were fact, despite evidence to the contrary. Okay, and oh my god, that was a perfectly timed jump. That was not so perfect. In fact, I would go as far as to say that was the worst jump I could have possibly made in that situation. That was pretty good, though. But yeah, so the new Whose Line is, if you enjoyed the old ones, I do recommend it. Just know what you're getting into. It's not something that's as focused on the crowd. It's more focused on celebrity guests that are, quite frankly, not necessarily the best people to have on the show. Like, who was it they had last week? Someone from, I think it was The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Like, dude, this woman is not a comedian. In fact, she's just kind of a snooty woman who anyone in their right mind who is not into reality shows has no interest in seeing anywhere, nonetheless on a comedy program. Why would you do this to us? And I apologize if you do enjoy The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, but I do not think there are many people who are going to be watching a video on Cloudberry Kingdom and who are like, you know what show I really love? The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. A show about rich women who like to bitch and complain about everything that happens in their life over and over through hundreds and hundreds of episodes. Because people have nothing better to watch than the lives of people richer than them that still complain even more. How did that become a thing? Like, how did the whole reality show genre come to be so successful? Like, I kind of understood with the reality game shows. You know, Survivor was kind of a stretch because you're going places where people already live. and you're making it into a game if you can survive there, which is kind of ridiculous, but, you know, I am not the first one to make that commentary on the subject. But, oh, when it comes to, you know, oh look, there are these people who live in this town, let's watch everything they do and listen to them complain. How did that even become a thing that people enjoyed? Are there people who really enjoy it, or is it all just ironic, like, oh yeah, I so enjoy this? God. Like, I really don't know. I really don't know how that became a thing that people actually watched consistently. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Bouncy Ball. Okay. Ghosty levels can be kind of a pain, but that went well. We've only got 12 lives left, though, and we're already down. I know, we're only at, what, 580,000 points? But that was a perfect. Oh. So I want to wait a second before going perfect. Eesh. There's one of few genres of television shows that I don't understand. I don't understand how it got popular. I don't understand how it continues to succeed. Obviously, a great example of it is The Jersey Shore, which I'm sure I'm not the only one who absolutely refused to watch a single episode of that. But it's just become this big thing for people to watch rich people complain about their lives, and I don't get why. Maybe I'm in the minority on that, but I don't think I am. I think even people who do watch those shows and enjoy them sit there going, what am I doing? Why am I watching these rich people be like, oh, my life is so horrible. I only made $500,000 last half of the year. No, actually, it's probably more like, I only made $500,000 last month. This is ridiculous. And then you're like, dude, just shut up. Shut up now. If I could make $500,000 in a month, I would be the happiest man alive. I wouldn't complain about anything. I mean, just think about that. Making what? That's $500,000 a month, 12 months. That's like $6 million a year. That's not even close to what some people make in the world. And I would be the happiest man alive just to, for 1 year, make $500,000 a month. And then you could never pay me again. I would be happy as a clam, which is a saying I have never understood, just to have 1 year where I'm making $500,000 a month. 1 year! That's all I ask. 1 year. And you would never have to worry about me complaining about anything ever again. Yet these people can make millions of dollars and just be like, my life is horrible. I have to give some of my money to taxes that help the poor people who can't afford food. And that means I can afford a slightly smaller private jet than what I would have purchased. I don't mean to be diminutive against, people who have money, because not everyone is like that. I want to be clear on that point. I am talking about the people on shows like, for example, The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, who make a ton of money and then just constantly complain about every little detail of it, despite the fact that they are in a position that most of the country would, and that most of the world would pay to be in. It's not something against people who have money, it's more so something against the particular people who have money who are the kind of people on those shows. Just so that we're clear on that, so that if there are any kind of people who have a lot of money in my audience, they do not think that I am being diminutive toward them. Okay, how? How did he make that jump? Mr. Ball, I think you are full of it. Oops. That's what happens when you get ahead of pace. Oop, that's what happens when you don't jump. That's what happens when your voice decides to revert several years. Okay, and then we need to go down here. Bouncy, bouncy. Finally! So I was doing everything right, I just wasn't getting that last bounce properly, apparently. Still not sure what I did differently that last time that worked. I felt so accomplished making it through this level with a perfect on my first run, and then that guy screwed it, and now you're gonna watch me probably like lose my last life on this level. Yep. Yep. Level 69 at least, that's a plus. We'll do one more run on this video. Let's go ahead and jump in here. But yeah, one thing that you guys have to remember, if I ever get rich, I promise to never complain about anything. I promise that fact, because I'll be too worried about being like, hey, I have a lot of money, I should help some people out with this, to worry about, oh, I can't get the same size jet I want. They should make a show about actual normal people who have normal lives, and call it, you know, going outside. And the people who are into the Real Housewives could go outside and see all these people who are struggling to get by and be like, oh my dear Lord, we should help these people. Not necessarily in the way of just giving them money, by the way, more so in the way of, hey, you know, we could probably hire some people and give them some money by way of getting work from them. That would be a nice thing we could do. Unfortunately, the world is extremely money-based, and so no one is ever willing to give, or, well, I don't say no one, but most people who get extremely wealthy tend to kind of withdraw. You know, you look at the people in the banks, or you look at who got all that money from what essentially caused an economic collapse like no one has ever seen before. Or you look at, you know, Steve Jobs is actually a pretty good example, even though he wasn't that rich, all things considered. He was one rich man, but compared to other people, he was not that rich. But that man was very selfish with his money. He did everything that he could to turn Apple into the most money-grabbing that it could be. And he succeeded. Let's be honest here. He has made his company resulted in very successful products that are very good at getting money from people. And that's, in my opinion, for the worse of the well-being of our culture and world. But there is free room to argue that, and that's not anything of a knock against, you know, Apple's products, although I do have my opinions on those as well that I won't get into. That's more so just the fact of they made things very good for making money. Their computers are very hard to repair, so it encourages you to buy a new one if something breaks. They're, you know, constantly releasing new updates to things. They've just got a lot of strategies in place that are pretty much designed to make as much money as possible. And it's quite a successful venture, don't get me wrong. And, you know, I'll be honest, I don't wish I thought of it first, even though I wish I had that kind of money. Just because, you know, Apple in their business strategy is in a lot of ways like EA is in gaming. They are out for every penny that they can get, no matter if they think it's no matter if it's fair to the consumer or not. And, you know, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, maybe it's going to cost them in the long run when the cultural phenomena of having an Apple product ceases. I'm still curious how that one exactly came around. I mean, I know good marketing was a lot of it, but was it just kind of like a rebellion against Windows that made it such a cultural phenomena? Like, take that, Windows. We're using Apple now instead of Microsoft. Like, once it caught on, I understand the way that social trends tend to grow. My question is just, what was, like, the initial catalyst for it to become such a big thing? Because things don't become that big without something eating away at people that they want to use, you know what I mean? Those first early adopters had to have had something going on. Probably more than just the advertising, since the advertising wasn't nearly as extreme when, you know, iPods first started coming out. But there was something about it where even though there were other MP3 players on the market that did equally as good of a job as the iPod, it just kind of took off like none other. And I'm very curious as to what the actual like root cause of that takeoff was. That was really stupid of me. Bounce, bounce, go. Bounce, go. Oh, bounce. Oh. Bounce, bounce, go. Oh, come on. Wait for that one to swing around. Oh. Why is this level giving me so much trouble? I have a feeling this is going to be like the turning point of our run, where it goes from decent to horrible. Okay, how did I not get that on my own the first time? Like, that was exactly what I was doing. Well, almost exactly what I was doing. And I was kind of off pace with the ball, and I still made it work. So that level should not have cost me that many lives. It's probably a doom spelling for this run. I should say that I'm not sure how long I will continue this series. You know, if I'm continuing to struggle to get to the 1,000,000 points I'm aiming for after a ton of episodes, I may need to reevaluate the series. But for right now, I am having fun with this game, and I want to keep playing it. And I want to keep playing it on camera and talking about every random thing that comes to my mind. Pretty much everything but Cloudberry Kingdom. Because the more that I talk about Cloudberry Kingdom... Oh, my apologies for that. The more I talk about Cloudberry Kingdom, the more I am not just letting my mind kind of control itself, but trying to consciously make every move not by reaction, but by forethought. And honestly, I don't think that works as well in this game. I don't think thinking ahead is as good in most situations as it is to play through. And what's even worse is to constantly be gripping yourself into the current moment and not looking ahead or letting yourself go with the flow, but kind of harpooning you into one single moment, which is what I feel doing consistent commentary on. Oh, look, there's some bouncy blocks, and then we have to land and dodge a spike, and then we're going to jump on the bouncy block to the exit. Like, there's not much to that commentary other than making me focus on what's right in front of me instead of keeping an eye to the front and reacting as I see things coming. So yeah, I don't think that... I mean, don't get me wrong, there is probably a lot of stuff that you can talk about in this game. I hate you, game. There is a lot of stuff that you can talk about in this game, directly related to the game. But I feel like it's maybe not the most interesting commentary to directly base it on what's going on in the game all the time. You know, there are a lot of games that are kind of slow moving enough that consistent commentary of what's happening at the moment works really well. But this game, I feel, moves too fast for that to really work out most of the time. Which is a good thing, mind you. Don't take that as a negative. It's actually a good thing because a platformer like this wouldn't work if it moved slow enough to think out and talk out every obstacle as they came. So I am glad that it works the way it does, and it also gives me a nice little forum to just kind of blabber my mouth along until I have to shut up because my recording is done. I'm also, from what the guys at Pixelscopic have said, it sounds like the Delvers Drop Alpha is going to be happening very soon, if not today or tomorrow. So by the time you see this, I might have already had a video up on that. Oops, that was my bad. As usual, the answer is move quicker. Because speed solves everything. You know what would be really good at Cloudberry Kingdom? Ricky Bobby. Ricky Bobby would be real good at Cloudberry Kingdom because his one motto is, I want to go fast. And if you ain't first, you're last. And so he would be going for that perfect score every time. Talladega Nights was a good movie. I quite enjoyed that one. Help me! I'm on fire! Help me, Jesus! Help me, Oprah! Help me, Tom Cruise! There we go. But yeah, that was a good movie. I'm very worried about Anchorman 2, honestly. Like, I haven't really seen much about it, but in general, I feel like there are certain movies that are made for sequels, certain ones that aren't. And Anchorman was definitely not made for a sequel. That was meant to be a one-shot thing. And they kind of went, hey, this was really successful, we should go make a sequel to this. And that is the wrong kind of strategy to make. You know, as I enter into possibly going into game design myself, you know, if I design a game to be a sequel game, I need to make that sequel whether it's successful or not. Because otherwise, the game is incomplete. But if I make a game that's not meant to have a sequel, I shouldn't make a sequel just because it's successful. Because if the game wasn't meant to have a sequel, it's going to show. You know, you look at Mass Effect, where, you know, obviously there's a lot to be said about things kind of not being quite as strong after the first entry when it came to story. There's quite a lot of disagreement on that, I know, but you know, you can make a case that the story went downhill after EA bought them and it turned into a third-person shooter with RPG elements instead of an RPG with third-person shooter elements. You can definitely make that case. But at the same time, the game was designed to be a trilogy to begin with, and it shows in the fact that you can visibly see from the first game that while it stands on its own, it was meant to have more. You know, Anchorman was not made to have more. Anchorman was made to have one episode, or one, you know, showing of it, and then that was it. And you can tell this because of things like the wrap-up they give of what happens to the characters at the end, stuff like that. This was not designed to be a movie with a sequel. It only received a sequel because it was so wildly successful that the producers were like, hey, we've got a cash cow on our hands, it's been some years, let's go ahead and make a sequel now where we can make a ton of money. That was really stupid of me. I have a feeling this is going to be another failure of a run. I consider anything where I don't beat my high score a failure, and so far we have not even gotten close to my high score, which I believe was like 970,000, something like that. I guess we're kind of close. We're up to 600 and some thousand. Oh god. No! I was doing so good! That was just stupid. So was that. There we go. Now we are on pace with how the game wants us to do this. Ooh. I missed that coin. But I retrieved it, and we now have almost 700,000. You know, it's getting to a run where you can't really call it a failure, but it's also not above my high score, and so it's a failure in my eyes. If you don't like it, too bad. That was ridiculous. What was I supposed to do there? Okay, do I need to wait a couple seconds at the beginning? I guess so. Oops. So now we need to go here, and then we're going to try to keep pace with this ball. Okay. So that was a really weird kind of condition where you had to somehow measure out the time that it took to... Oh, I just did the same thing twice in a row. Yee! I feel like the answer is to go faster, but it's not. Oh, come on. Oops. Might be almost time to use a bouncy ball, which is going to cost us a lot of coins now. I don't even care that I missed that coin. I just want to complete this level. Thank you. We're almost back to the level we died on last time, despite having a much higher score. Ah, Skype call, go away. You jerks. I hate the fact that it's so hard to make Skype not notify you and make a sound when I not notify you when there's a call. Like, it doesn't just work to be like, hey, don't send me alerts about calls, because it still brings up that little pop-up that's like, hello, you're getting called. I hate you. Oh god. This is a really tricky level. I don't like this. Oh. Maybe I should use a slow time for the first time in this series, because this is quite difficult. Oy, nope, I got it. That was really kind of complex though. You needed pretty much pixel perfect timing. That was just stupid. You know, I said that that was just stupid? No, that was just stupid. Oh, come on. Oops. I had it, I just messed it up. There we go. Perfect. That was really stupid. These levels get really tricky really fast. Oh, come on. Oh! How do I do this? I don't think I can afford another bouncy block. Whoops. You know what? Let's slow time. I can't afford a bouncy block, so let's use that too. I want to... Oop! I still messed up. Because I thought I was going to jump to the far platform, not the close one. Okay, and then we jump here, jump here, jump here, jump here, jump here, jump here, jump, jump, jump. Oh my dear lord! I am glad I used both of those power-ups on that, or that would have been our death. Level 69, we can defeat easily, hopefully. All of these ghosts are going away at horrible timing. Oh my god. Whoops. Whoops. Oh, come on. Oh, that was game over. Oh, well, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. It was quite a crazy one, although I didn't do all that great. I'm not sure what was going on with that last level. I'm not sure what I was supposed to do, honestly. Thank you guys for watching. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you have enjoyed my extremely disjointed random commentary. And I will see you on the next episode. Have a good one, everyone. Take care.